Hey everyone, welcome to our Workforce TV. So this is our segment and it's called Is HR Prepared? Our topic for our segment one is that how was the required number of experience validated? So today, I want to welcome you all. This is a workforce segment by Government Workforce Network LLC, where we explore evolving workforce questions, recruitment realities, and modernization challenges impacting today's hiring environment. Today's discussion centers around a question that may sound simple on the surface, but actually carries significant operational, compliance, and workforce implications. So, how was the required number of experience validated? This is becoming an increasingly important workforce discussion because applicants today are becoming more informed, more analytical, and increasingly AI enabled. So, historically, many organizations established qualifications standards using specific years of experience requirements. For example, 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. And for many years, those standards were generally accepted without much public questioning. But today, a growing workforce conversation is emerging around whether those numerical requirements were ever operationally validated in the first place, or whether they simply became inherited standards that continued over time without reevaluation. And that distinction matters. So, because in today's environment, applicants, may now ask more sophisticated questions like, um, what exactly does this position require 7 years instead of three? Um, what operational evidence supports that threshold? When was the qualifications standard last reviewed? And can the organization consistently justify requirement across all applicants? Now, to be clear, years of experience requirements were not created without a reason. Organizations often use them as a proxy for exposure, operational familiarity, judgment, maturity, risk reduction, and real world experience. Specifically, well, especially in public sector in highly regulated environments where consistency, defensibility, and structured hiring processes are extremely important. And there is an understandable logic behind wanting experienced individuals in critical roles. However, however, the workforce environment itself has changed, significantly. And being in HR for 20 years, and I was in recruitment for many years, um, that change, the trend is basically changing. And particularly, like with technology has changed, the learning access change, operational tools have changed, and artificial intelligence is rapidly accelerating how individuals acquire knowledge, develop competencies, and solve problems. So today, someone may be able to develop technical capabilities significantly faster than in previous generations because AI coaching tools exist, simulations exist, one learning is widely available, not one, online learning is available, and information is more accessible than ever before. So, which creates an important workforce modernization discussion. And thus, that time alone remained the strongest predictor of capability. Or should organizations also evaluate demonstrated competency, adaptability, learning velocity, operational effectiveness, and applied skills? This does not necessarily mean experience no longer matters. The discussion is whether the specific numerical threshold itself was ever um, empirically validated based on actual operational necessity. So, for example, why 5 years instead of four? Why seven instead of three? And what measurable operational evidence supports those numbers? And these are no longer theoretical discussions. Applicants today are using AI tools to analyze job announcements, compare qualifications structures. They can identify inconsistencies and evaluate potential workforce barriers. So, which means recruiters and hiring teams may increasingly face more detailed and I will say sophisticated questions from candidates. And if organizations are unable to clearly explain how certain qualifications standard were established, that may create candidate frustration, trust concerns, reputational risks, and recruitment challenges, or even formal complaints questioning hiring criteria. Again, this discussion is not about criticizing HR professionals, recruiters, or organizations, and it is not suggesting that standards should simply be lowered. This is about thoughtful workforce evaluation, because modernization does not necessarily mean reducing standards. Sometimes, modernizations validating whether existing standards still align with, like with current workforce realities, operational outcomes, evolving technology, and future organizational needs. So the workforce, everyone knows, the workforce is changing rapidly. Candidates' behavior is changing, and particularly technology is changing. And organizations may eventually need to reevaluate whether some, legacy qualification framework still reflect today's operational environment. So perhaps the larger executive questions become: when was the qualification standard last reviewed? And, if a recruiter is being questioned about with this particular question from a candidate, are you guys able to even justify and defend that question? And another question: was the requirement operationally validated? How was it validated? Can the organization consistently explain the rationale behind the requirements? And are requirement teams equipped to confidentially answer those questions in today's evolving workforce environment? Because applicants are becoming smarter, and we know that, more informed and increasingly AI enabled. And organizations that proactively evaluate these discussions may be better positioned for future workforce reality. So that's it for today, and thank you for joining us for this segment one of Is HR Prepared by Government Workforce Network LLC. So I think, HR leaders, we should start thinking about this, changes, and have some time to look at your, job descriptions, your job flyer, because candidates, the applicants are becoming so, um, knowledgeable about AI, and they can challenge your hiring decisions, and probably especially when it comes to minimum qualifications. And so think about that, and hopefully in the future we will have a segment two for this discussion. It will continue because we have a lot of questions that we will be asking, and hopefully some of HR leaders are willing enough to participate in the discussion with me in the future, because it is very important that applicants needs to be informed. Part of human resources, we have to be transparent. I know there are some things that we should be, confidential, but there are some things that candidates or applicants should be informed on how we do our things, how we do our business on the other side of the table. So thank you all, and look forward to seeing you and participate in this discussion in segment two. And it's going to be scheduled this month. And watch out for our Workforce TV in our website, because the date and the link is going to be shared through our website, government workforcenetwork.com /workforce TV. Thank you all. Bye.